Hey everyone. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. It really helps YouTube recommend more stories like this one to you. All right, let's jump right in.
The moment my GPS rerouted me off the main road, I felt that sick sort of twist in my gut, like when you think someone's behind you in a parking garage. I should have ignored it. Should have trusted my instincts. But I didn't. I just kept following the little blue line like a dumbass dot. It was a Tuesday night, cold, foggy as hell. I remember because I had my window cracked. My car's heat had been acting up, and the windshield kept fogging. I was running deliveries for FeedFast, doing a double shift. Some late-night order came in from a spot on the edge of the city, one of those weird half-rural, half-developed areas with old farms and new condos thrown together, like a jigsaw puzzle. The app said it was a $12 payout for 15 minutes of driving. Easy money. But halfway there, the GPS voice suddenly chimed in, rerouting. Take the next left onto Old Creek Path. That wasn't the way I came before. I paused at the turn. My headlights lit up a narrow gravel road, barely wide enough for one car. No streetlights. No signs. Just trees and fog. I should have turned around right then. But the timer on the app was ticking, and I had 2 orders canceled on me earlier. If I didn't deliver this one, my rating would tank. So I took the turn. Gravel popped under my tires, and tree branches scraped against my side mirror as I eased into the woods. The road kept going. No houses, no driveways. Just dark forest. And then the signal dropped. No bars. The GPS screen froze. No service. Cool, great. Now I was lost in the middle of nowhere with a bag of pad thai and lukewarm spring rolls. I kept driving slow, hoping I'd hit a clearing or a house or anything. A few minutes later, I saw something. 2 faint yellow lights ahead. Glowing through the fog, I exhaled. Headlights, another car. But when I got closer, I realized they weren't headlights. They were porch lights. And the house looked wrong. It sat low to the ground, almost sunken. The wood siding was gray and splintered, covered in vines. One window had plywood over it. The others were black. No curtains. No light inside. Just the porch lights, flickering like someone was tampering with the power. I checked the app again. Still frozen. But the address number carved into the mailbox matched the order. 419 Old Creek Path. I didn't want to get out. I actually sat there for a full minute with the engine running, one hand on the gear shift, ready to reverse. But then I saw movement on the porch. Someone stepped out of the shadows, a man. Maybe mid-40s, wearing jeans and a button-up, no jacket. He didn't wave or say anything. Just stood there, watching me. Against my better judgment, I grabbed the bag and got out. My feet sank a little into the mud. I walked fast. Cold mist clung to my clothes. I said, "FeedFast delivery for." He cut me off. "Come inside." His voice was flat, like he wasn't really asking, just stating it. I laughed awkwardly. "Nah, I'm good. I can just leave it here." I held out the bag. He didn't take it. "Come inside," he said again. "You have the wrong items." That stopped me. I looked down at the receipt stapled to the bag. Spring rolls, pad thai, jasmine tea. Exactly what the order said. It matches what's in the app," I said. He didn't even glance at it. "You picked up the wrong order," he repeated. Then something behind him creaked. A sound I can still hear, weeks later, when I try to sleep. The sound of a door opening. From inside the house, I leaned slightly, trying to peek past him. I don't know why. Maybe just to prove to myself that it was just a regular house. A kitchen. A couch. Normal things. But there was only darkness inside. Not the kind you get from no lights. A deeper black. Like the house swallowed light hole, I felt it then. A drop in air pressure. Like the moment before a thunderstorm. Like something was breathing out from inside that house. The man took a step closer. "Just come in. It'll only take a minute." I backed up. "Yeah, no, sorry. I've got other deliveries." He smiled. It was the kind of smile people force. Like he was imitating how a human should look when they're being polite. Then, he lunged. I dropped the bag and ran. I heard his boots hit the steps behind me, then crunching on gravel as I sprinted to my car. I slammed the door, locked it, jammed the key into the ignition. It didn't start. Twice. 3 times. Nothing. My headlights dimmed. The porch lights flickered again. He was still walking toward me, calm, like he knew I wasn't getting away. Then, everything stopped. He froze halfway across the yard. Something else moved, behind him. In the window. It was just a silhouette, but I swear to God, it was tall. Too tall. And its head was bent sideways, like it couldn't quite fit under the ceiling. I blinked. Gone. My car roared to life on the 4th try. I slammed it into reverse, spun out, fishtailed back onto the gravel road, and didn't look back. Not until I hit pavement again. When my signal came back, the app glitched and restarted. The order? Gone. No record of it. No delivery address. Just a blank screen. And here's the part that messes with my head. I checked Google Maps the next morning. There's no road called Old Creek Path. Not in the county. Not anywhere, but my tire tracks were still on my car the next day. Thick with mud and tiny bits of gravel. Something was there. And I think it's still watching my route. After that night, I didn't go back on the app for a few days. I told myself I was just tired. Burned out. Maybe hallucinating from lack of sleep. But no matter how I spun it, I couldn't forget the feeling, that weight in the air, that twisted smile, or the thing in the window. I tried looking up the address again. I even posted on Reddit, asking if anyone knew of 419 Old Creek Path near the city. Someone replied saying Old Creek Path had been demolished after a flood in 2006. I checked satellite maps. The area showed nothing but dense forest. No houses. No roads. Still, part of me kept trying to rationalize it. Maybe it was just a weird side road. A prank. Some rural horror roleplay bullshit. That was until I got another order, 3 nights later. Same app. Different part of town. A $16 payout, which was high for 9:45 p.m. I wasn't going to take it. But the address looked normal, a condo complex on the east side. I needed the cash. So I accepted it. But when I got to the pickup restaurant, something felt off again. The hostess handed me the bag before I said a word. "Here," she said, already holding it out. The receipt on the top said, "Order number 0419 pad thai to 1 spring rolls 1. Jasmine tea 1." I stared at it. I said, "Is this a reprint?" She blinked. "What?" "This exact order came through a few days ago. Same items." She glanced at the slip. That's what the app printed. I should have left it. Dropped the bag right there and walked out. But some part of me needed to know. Needed to finish the loop. The drop-off location was about 20 minutes away. I watched the map the entire drive. Everything seemed normal. Highway, suburbs, lit streets. But a mile out, the GPS did it again. Rerouting. Take next left onto Old Creek Path. I froze. There it was. On the screen. Clear as day. Old Creek Path. Except this time I didn't take the turn. I pulled into a gas station instead. Parked under the lights. Checked the map again. But now the route was gone. The destination had disappeared. It just said, "Delivery complete." No timer. No option to cancel. The bag was still sitting next to me, I tried calling FeedFast support, but the number rang once, then went to static. Not a dial tone. Static. I'm not making that up. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No contact photo. No city ID. I let it ring once. Twice. Then declined. Immediately, I got a text. You still have the wrong order. I dropped the phone. I was done. I threw the bag in the trash behind the gas station, peeled out, and drove straight home. That night, I slept with the lights on. Didn't go online. Didn't check the app. Nothing. The next morning, I woke up to a knock. Not on the door. On my bedroom window. Second story. No balcony. No ladder. I thought I dreamed it. But when I opened the curtain, I saw the mud smeared across the glass. A long dark streak, like a finger dragged from top to bottom. I called the police. Filed a report. They found footprints in the dirt by the wall, but only one set. No tire tracks. No other signs of entry. Just bare footprints. Big ones. Like someone had walked through the woods, then climbed straight up the siding of my house. They asked if I had enemies. I told them no. I didn't tell them about the delivery. Didn't tell them that a few hours later, the FeedFast app reinstalled itself on my phone. I hadn't downloaded it. I swear on everything, it just appeared. Now, every night around 9:30, it pings me. Just one order. Always the same items. Always with the number 419. Always with a route that leads into black trees and silence. I haven't taken one since, but the pings keep coming. And now they're showing up at different addresses. Other drivers I know have started getting them too. I don't know what happens if someone else delivers the food. I don't want to find out, but last night, I walked outside and saw a FeedFast bag on my porch, still warm, and sitting next to it was my old phone. The one I lost 3 months ago. Battery full. Screen on. Route loaded. And underneath it, scrawled in mud on the welcome mat, you delivered it here. The second I stepped into the building, I felt it, that wrong kind of quiet. Not peaceful, not nighttime quiet. It was empty quiet. Like the whole place had been drained of life. It was a Tuesday night again. Around 11:45 p.m. I was doing one last delivery before logging off. I was exhausted, hungry, and already annoyed that the order was at the edge of my zone. But the payout was good, and it was one of those big brick apartment buildings with a buzzer. So I figured in and out, 5 minutes max. The order was for apartment 6B, no notes. No gate code. But the front door was propped open with a broken piece of brick, which, yeah, weird, but not unheard of. I stepped inside and immediately noticed 3 things. The lobby smelled damp. Not like mildew-wet carpet, like something had been soaked and left to rot. Every bulb in the hallway ceiling was either flickering or completely dead. So the only light came from the glow of the elevator button panel. It was silent. No TVS, no footsteps above me. No hum of appliances. Not even the buzz of a vending machine. Just that cold, thick silence. The kind that presses against your ears. I pressed the elevator button. The doors opened immediately. No chime, no delay. Inside, it smelled like hot metal and old sweat. As the doors closed, I checked the receipt again. Apartment 6B name, Layla D. I was halfway through tapping arrived in the app when the elevator stopped. No chime, no bounce. Just a dead stop. The screen above didn't show a floor number. It just blinked. I waited. The doors opened, and I stepped into the 6th floor hallway that looked nothing like the lobby. The air was colder here, like I'd walked into a walk-in freezer. The walls were painted a pale green, with cracks showing underneath, and the carpet had dark stains I didn't want to think about. There were doors on either side, old, wooden ones with peeling numbers. 6A, 6D. But 6B wasn't where it should have been. Where there should have been an apartment door, There was a blank wall. Same as the hallway. Same paint, same cracks. No door. No 6B. I turned in a slow circle, wondering if I'd missed it. That's when I saw the door at the end of the hall. No number, no peephole. Just matte black paint and a steel handle. I don't know why, but I knew. That was 6B. I walked toward it, gripping the food bag tighter. Each step, the air got colder. The lights above buzzed louder. I stopped in front of the door. No bell, no knocker. So I knocked. 3 times, a pause. Then the handle clicked. The door creaked open. Just a few inches. Inside, it was pitch black. No sound, no voice. Just open. I cleared my throat. Feed fast delivery. For Leela? Nothing. I waited another 10 seconds. Still nothing. I tried to leave the bag on the floor, but something stopped me. The door began to open wider, slowly. No one touched it. No wind, just open. I stepped back. My body was screaming at me to leave, but then a voice. Soft, whispery, from deep inside. Come in. It was barely audible. A woman's voice. Hoarse, tired, like someone who hadn't spoken aloud in days. I stood frozen. The bag shook in my hands. Then I heard something else. A faint sobbing. Deeper in the apartment. It didn't sound like the voice I'd just heard. This was different. Younger. Like a child. Hello? I called out, against every instinct. No reply. Just more soft sobbing. Like someone crying through their hands. I backed away. Fast. Turned around and walked straight back toward the elevator. Pressed the button once. Twice. 5 times. It didn't light up. I looked down the hallway. That black door? Still wide open. Still no one in sight. Then I saw something that stopped me cold. The door across from 6B, the one labeled 6D, was also open a crack. And inside, I could see a wall covered in photos. Hundreds of them. All taken in this hallway. All showing people standing right where I was now. Some were holding food bags. Some were just standing. Some were crying. And one of them was me. Same hoodie. Same hat. Same shoes. Same expression I had at that moment. Panicked. I bolted, ran back toward the stairs, and shoved the door open. I made it to the 5th floor before I realized something was wrong. There were no windows. No fire exit signs. No stairwell numbers. The entire staircase just looped. Every floor was the same. Green walls, stains, buzzing lights. Same smell. I ran down 5 more flights before I stopped. Checked the door on the ground floor. It said 6B. The second I saw the name on the order, something in my stomach twisted. Leah Durning. I'd seen that name earlier that same day, printed in all caps on a faded missing persons flyer taped to the window of a gas station just outside of town. Same first name. Same last. Same photo. But the app didn't care. Just another ticket. Just another drop-off. $17 payout. Late night pickup. Remote location. I stood in the parking lot of Louie's Diner, holding a hot bag with her name stapled across the receipt, and trying to convince myself it was just a coincidence. Just someone with the same name. But the more I looked at that order slip, the more I noticed something off. The handwriting on the ticket, it wasn't printed from a machine like usual. It was handwritten, shaky and rushed, like someone wrote it in a moving car. And under the customer instructions, where it normally says, "Leave at door," or "Hand it to me," it just said, "Come inside. Door will be open. I'll be waiting." The place was an old farmhouse, a solid 20 minutes from town, surrounded by nothing but woods and frost-covered fields. Not a single light on the road out there. No streetlights. No neighboring houses. Just the 2-lane road and me driving way too fast with a gut full of nerves. The GPS glitched 3 times during the drive. The first time, it froze completely. The second time, it redirected me to a closed-down rest stop. And the third time, it simply stopped giving directions. The screen blinked once and then said, "Arrived." Except I wasn't anywhere near the drop-off yet. The road was empty. No house in sight, but up ahead, just beyond the tree line, a single porch light flickered to life. I don't know why I drove toward it. I think part of me was already too deep in to back out. Maybe I was trying to prove something, that it was all in my head. Just a weird night, a glitchy app, a delivery like any other. I parked in front of the house. Engine running, the porch light buzzed. A bulb from another century. The screen door swung slightly in the breeze, and the front door was already open. Not wide, just a few inches. Enough to show a hallway, dim and still. I sat in my car with the delivery bag on my lap, debating whether to leave it on the porch and bolt. But that note, "I'll be waiting," it didn't feel like a request. It felt like a trap, and yet, I got out. The air smelled like wood smoke and wet leaves. The house looked old, maybe early 1900s. Paint peeling, shutters loose, one of them missing completely. The doorknob was cold in my hand. I pushed it open. "Hello?" I called out. "Leah?" No response. Just a dim hallway that smelled like lavender and old paper. Stepped inside. There were photos on the wall, dozens of them. All black and white, all crooked in their frames. Not family photos, more like portraits. Formal, blank faces, stiff poses. Every single one of them had the eyes scratched out with something sharp. I kept walking. The kitchen light was on at the end of the hall. Soft yellow glow. And in that glow, a woman sitting at the table. Thin, pale, long black hair tied back. She looked tired. She smiled faintly when she saw me. "You came." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, here's your food." I set the bag on the table, hands shaking slightly. She didn't reach for it. Instead, she just looked at me. "I'm sorry," she said softly. I didn't know who else would come. I opened my mouth to respond, but stopped. Something on the table caught my eye. A newspaper. Folded neatly. Front page facing up. Today's date. And right there, printed in clear type above the fold, "Local woman found dead in woods identified as Leah Durningse." Stared at it, my pulse thudding in my ears at the photo under the headline. It was her. The same woman sitting across from me. Same hollow cheeks. Same tired eyes. She didn't say anything. Just watched me. Like she was waiting. My throat tightened. "I don't understand," I said. "This has to be a mistake." "Are you?" She stood, slowly, moved toward me like her bones ached. "No mistake," she said. "That's me." She picked up the newspaper. Folded it once, twice. "I died out there," she said. 3 nights ago. Same place they found the others. I backed up, hard, hit the counter behind me. She didn't flinch. "They put me in the paper this morning," she said. "But they didn't tell the truth. No one ever does." She stepped closer. I didn't get lost. I didn't fall. I was taken. I stared at her. Taken by who? Her eyes flicked past me. And just above a whisper, she said, "They're still here." That's when I heard something in the hallway behind me. Floorboards creaking. But not footsteps, dragging, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. I turned slow. The light from the kitchen spilled partway down the hallway, just enough to show movement, not a shape. A shadow, thin and long and wrong. The woman grabbed my arm, fingers ice cold. "Go," she whispered. "You don't want to stay for the second part." She yanked my arm hard. Her grip was stronger than I expected. "Go, out the door, now," but I couldn't move. Not because I didn't want to, I physically couldn't. My legs were locked. My body frozen, like something was holding me. The shadow in the hallway grew longer. It stretched against the floor like ink bleeding outward, and I swear, I saw it twitch. Like it was aware I was watching it. The woman, Leah, looked terrified now. She pushed me toward the door. "I brought you here because they let me," she said, fast and low. "They let me reach through this because I helped feed them. But it's not safe anymore." My heart was slamming against my ribs. "What the hell are you talking about?" Leah's eyes filled with tears. "There's a spot in the woods, by the old logging trail. A circle of stones. That's where it started. That's where they took me. That's where they want to bring you to." The shadow reached the edge of the kitchen light. The bulbs above us flickered once, twice, then burst. Not all at once, but one after the other, in a rhythm. Like footsteps. Pop, pop. Pop. The hallway behind us went completely black, and something stepped inside the kitchen. I didn't look. I couldn't, but I could feel it. Heat drained from the room. The smell of burnt wood and wet soil filled my nose. My ears rang like I just walked away from an explosion. Leah whispered, "Run." I bolted. I don't remember opening the door. I just remember the cold air hitting my face and my feet slamming the porch boards as I flew off the steps. I ran to my car, ripped the door open, and jumped inside, slamming the lock. But when I hit the ignition, nothing, not a click, not a stutter, just dead. Like the battery had been yanked out. The porch light of the house flickered behind me. Once, then it went black. I stared at the doorway. Nothing. Empty. But my phone buzzed. One buzz, then it died too. Mid-screen. All power. Gone. That's when I saw it. Out of the corner of my eye, something moved in the tree line. Not toward me, just circling. Like it was waiting for me to make a decision. Leah's voice echoed in my head. The old logging trail. Circle of stones. I didn't want to. God, I didn't. But my car wasn't going anywhere. And every cell in my body told me if I stayed here, I wouldn't see daylight. So I ran through the field, toward the trees. The woods swallowed me. It was colder here. Like something about the trees themselves refused warmth. I followed what looked like a trail, barely visible, worn down not by feet, but by something dragging. Leaves weren't crunched. They were pushed aside, flattened. After maybe 10 minutes, I saw it. A clearing. A circle of large, moss-covered stones. And in the middle, a wooden cross. Not a grave marker. Taller than me. Old, splintered, cracked down the center like it had been struck by lightning. At the base of it, a phone. My phone, still glowing. Still on. My breath caught in my throat. I reached for it. The second my fingers touched it, I saw everything. Not like a memory. Like a flood. Like something poured it into my skull all at once. Leah in the woods, barefoot, running. A man in a sheriff's jacket chasing her. A second man waiting in the clearing. Hands grabbing. A struggle. Screams. The cross. A whisper. "Leave her. They'll take what they want." Then silence. But the vision didn't stop. It kept going. I saw Leah sitting in that kitchen, alone, watching herself rot, talking to nothing. Talking to them, feeding them, luring deliveries. "Come inside. I'll be waiting." That's why I was here. I wasn't a fluke. I wasn't an accident. I was a replacement. The phone buzzed in my hand. Just once, then a voice. Not Leah's, not human. Low, like wind through bones. "We don't need her anymore." The shadows around the clearing twisted. Not figures, forms. Wrong. Glitching. Like they were skipping frames in reality. They closed in. I ran. I made it back to the road. No lights, no signal. But my legs kept going. I ran until my knees gave out. Eventually, headlights. A truck. Old. Local plates. The driver, a woman in her 60s, rolled down her window. "You okay?" I must have looked insane. I was covered in mud, shaking, wild-eyed. "Did you hear me?" She asked again. I nodded slowly. "I just need to get to town." She let me in. Didn't ask more questions. But as we drove, I looked out the window one last time toward the tree line. And I swear, right at the edge of the woods, I saw Leah standing watching, smiling. I went to the police the next day. Told them everything. They didn't believe me. Of course they didn't. But 2 days later, another Feed Fast driver went missing. Same area, same last ping. Same unfinished delivery. I haven't opened the app since. I deleted it. Switched numbers. Moved to another city. But sometimes, late at night, I still get the push notification. Even though I don't have the app anymore. It says, "New order from Leah D. Tap to accept." And underneath it, in tiny gray letters, "Come inside, I'll be waiting." The minute I saw the delivery note, I got that tight feeling in my chest, the kind of low-key dread you can't explain to anyone else. "Please leave the food by the basement door. Back of the house. Do not knock, no gate code. No buzzer." Just that. I was about halfway through a double shift for Bite Quick, doing late-night drops to stack a little extra cash. This order came in around 10:40 p.m., solid $22 payout for a 5-mile drive. No red flags in the address or restaurant, but the drop-off. Note. Yeah, that was off. Most people just say, "Leave it at the door" or "Don't ring." But basement door? Specifically? In a nice suburban neighborhood? Something about it felt wrong. Too quiet. Too intentional. But whatever. I needed the cash. The house was in this upscale cul-de-sac, not mansions. But that creepy kind of wealth where every lawn looks vacuumed and every car is the same muted gray. No signs of life. No windows lit up. I pulled into the driveway, headlights cutting across a fresh coat of leaves. I killed the engine and sat there for a second, watching the shadows stretch across the porch. Then I got out. Grabbed the order, 2 plastic bags, warm. Smelled like curry and naan, and walked around the side of the house. The backyard was pitch black except for one small light over the basement door. It buzzed faintly, like it hadn't been changed in years. The door itself was metal. Brown, rusted along the handle. A few spider webs in the corners. Dead leaves pushed up against the bottom. No window, no doorbell, just there. I stepped into the glow and placed the bag down gently. That should have been it. But as I turned to leave, I heard it. A knock. Not from behind me. From inside the basement. Just one knock, solid, heavy, not echoey like a house settling. Like a fist on the other side of the door. I froze, slowly turned back. The light above me flickered once. Then again. Another knock. Louder this time. 2 quick thumps, like someone trying to get my attention. I backed up a step. The hairs on my neck rose. Then came a whisper, muffled but real, "Don't leave yet." I bolted, ran back to my car like something was chasing me. Slammed the door shut, locked it, peeled out of the driveway. I didn't stop until I hit the main road. Sat in a gas station parking lot for 10 minutes before I checked the app. The order had auto-marked as delivered. No complaints, no ratings. But I still couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been on the other side of that door. Not someone waiting for food. Someone waiting for me. I told myself I was done for the night. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. That whisper. The second knock. The way it hadn't sounded scared. It had sounded deliberate. The next morning I did something I probably shouldn't have. I Googled the address. I wasn't expecting anything. Maybe just a name to prove I was overthinking it. But I found something. A listing. From 4 years ago. The photo showed the same house, different paint color, same porch light. In the description. Updated basement apartment with private entrance. Currently unoccupied due to incident. I paused, scrolled down. At the very bottom of the listing. In small print, previous tenant, Elijah Groves, age 27. Passed away in the basement unit in 2019. Cause of death, undetermined. No foul play reported. Undetermined. No foul play. But the guy died down there. In that basement. Where I heard the knock. Where someone whispered to me like they were still inside. I should have left it alone. But that night, I got another order. Same address. Different name on the receipt. Egroves. Same instructions. Please leave it by the basement door. Do not knock. This time, I told myself I was going to ignore it. Decline the order. Move on. But my thumb hovered over reject for too long. The app auto-accepted. I could feel it the second I parked at the curb. Street lamps faintly buzzing. Late night fog clinging to the gutters and creeping up between the parked cars. The delivery note sat on my phone screen like a dare. Please leave it by the basement door. Back of the house. Do not knock. I almost refused on the spot. Late double shift. My legs were heavy. My brain fuzzy with fatigue. And the instruction, basement door, in a suburban house, after midnight. Something didn't click right. But I pressed accept anyway. I needed the money. Extra cash for the month. Maybe a delayed rent payment. So I pulled out of the main road, turned down a quiet cul-de-sac, and headed toward the house. The neighborhood should have felt safe. Neat lawns, trimmed hedges, big windows sealed shut. But the moment I walked up the driveway, I felt exposed. Like I was the only one still awake in the whole block. Car after car parked in driveways, lights out. Silence so thick it made my footsteps shout. I stepped out of my car under the weak glow of a porch light. 2 plastic bags held together by a branded paper sleeve. Curry, naan bread, 2 iced teas. I tugged the jacket collar up around my chin. The night air had that brittle coldness that makes your breath visible. My boots crunched across leaves along the curb, pulled to the side of the driveway. As I walked around the house, the ambient sound faded. No hum of aircon. No TV glow leaking through curtains, no radio music in the yard. Only the slap of my jacket and the bag rustling around back. I found the basement door. The house angled away from the street, and this side garden was almost overgrown. I skirted some shrubs, pushing past a gate. The basement light hung overhead, a single bulb in a cage fixture, flickering faintly, casting ragged shadows across the white brick wall of the house. The metal door. Dull brown paint, chipped, rusting along the bottom. A spider web spun in the corner of the frame. Dead leaves piled in the door. Jam. No windows. No keypad. No sign. Just that door. I held my breath as I approached. The bag felt heavier than usual in my hand. I set it down gently on the threshold, and then I knocked. Wait. I knocked. I leaned out and looked at the screen. Instruction, do not knock. So I stepped back. As I took the step backward, I heard it. A single heavy knock from behind the door. Not the door I was facing. Behind it. Someone inside the basement, or behind that concrete wall, hitting something thick and wooden. My breath froze in my chest. The light above me flickered, then steadied. The knock came again twice, sharp. I didn't move. I didn't pick up the bags. I just stood. The fog pressed over the yard like a blanket. My pulse pounded. The hush around me felt aggressive, like the night had noticed me and was waiting. A soft voice came from the threshold, barely above a whisper. Don't leave yet. Somewhere in the house. Something shifted. The wind rattled the gate behind me. A distant dog barked once. I fumbled for my phone. Checked the GPS, no signal lost, map still showing the house. But the app said delivered. No confirmation button. Just the money pending. I sprinted. Dropped the bag, ran to my car with my jacket open, the cold air inside biting at my neck. I slammed the door. Locked it. Ignition turned. Tires spun as I pulled onto the road. I didn't stop for 20 minutes. I didn't check the app again. I just kept driving until the city lights returned, until other cars filled the road, until I could breathe easier. The next morning, I sat in a plastic chair outside the diner where I was picking up breakfast. I scrolled through my history. That address looked normal, same house, same street, safe zone. But I still had the sinking feeling. Curiosity got to me. I pulled my phone into the browser and typed in the address. Google, Street View loaded. Midday photo. Same house. Garden in better shape. Motorbike parked in the driveway. Everything looked ordinary, but under past listings I found something. 4 years ago. Basement apartment with private entrance. Currently unoccupied due to incident. Rooted down in the public records. Previous occupant. Elijah Groves, age 27, found deceased in the basement unit. 2019. Cause undetermined. No foul play. Case closed. It made sense. The basement door. The silent lawn. The fog-smeared yard. That afternoon I couldn't shake the memory of the knock. Of the whisper. I told myself it was a prank. Someone messing with late-night drivers. Or just fatigue. But I changed my route. Took the next drop, different dot, and then 3 nights later, I got the ping. Same street. Same house. Different name, E. Groves. Same special instruction. Leave by basement door. Do not knock. My heart hammered when I saw it. I almost rejected. My thumb hovered. I told myself, nope, I'm done. But the app auto-accepted. I'm already heading that way. That drive felt worse. The streetlights were flickering when I entered the neighborhood. My GPS glitched. The car behind me passed and then slowed, stayed level with me outside the house. I caught their headlights in the rear view mirror. It was just one car, clean, new model. Someone watching. I parked again, got out, walked to the backyard. The basement door looked different. The bulb overhead sputtered. The rust seemed worse. The dead leaves thicker. The air colder than before. The fear heavier. I dropped the 2 bags, this time 2 pizzas, some fries on the step. And I waited. After what felt like 10 seconds. A tap, tap. On the glass in the door's small half-moon window. I hadn't noticed it until that moment. Then a crack of light behind the door. It moved. The door opened slowly, wide enough for a shadow to lean out. I peered. Nobody at first. Just darkness inside. The threshold glowed faintly. Then I saw a pair of boots, wet, mud splattered, placed carefully on the bottom step. No body. No voice. I wish I could tell you I never went back, that I made a smart choice. Deleted the app, moved on. But a week after that last delivery, I got the message. This time, it wasn't a notification or a push from BikeQuick. It was a voicemail. From an unknown number. Only 2 words whispered over what sounded like static and crackling wood. Come inside. It played once, then deleted itself. I didn't even touch anything. Just blinked and it was gone. Later that night, when I opened my fridge to grab water, there was a receipt stuck to the inside of the door. From the same restaurant as the last order. Same customer, E. Groves, same instruction. Please bring it inside. Basement door. I hadn't taken an order. I hadn't left the house all day, but something had come to me. For days I didn't sleep. I kept seeing that rusted, metal door in my dreams, only now it was opening. Slowly, wider each time, and what came through wasn't a person. Not quite. Sometimes it looked like a man. Sometimes like me. Other nights, I'd wake up with mud on the carpet by the front door. Damp footprints I couldn't explain. The basement door from that house, always in the back of my mind. Like a sore tooth I couldn't stop pressing with my tongue. On the 6th day, I broke. I needed to see it again. I told myself I'd go back during the day. Just park look, maybe knock on the front door and ask some questions. I even brought a flashlight and a baseball bat. But when I pulled up to the house, it looked abandoned. The blinds were drawn. The mailbox was overflowing. The porch light was off. And in the middle of the lawn was a for sale sign, hand-painted, crooked, almost childlike. No contact number. No agency name. Just the words, for sale, inquire below. I parked down the street and approached on foot, circling behind the house. The backyard was more overgrown than I remembered. Weeds choking the path, ivy curling up the walls like fingers. And there it was, the basement door, rustier than before. The bulb above it dead. No bag in my hand this time. No delivery. Just that deep pull in my chest. Like something was waiting for me behind it. I knocked. Nothing. I tried the handle. It turned. The door creaked open, and I stood at the threshold. Inside, a narrow staircase sloped down into darkness. I clicked on my flashlight. Dust spiraled in the beam. Each step creaked. The kind of creak that sounds wet, like wood swollen with time. The air was stale, sour, like rotting books and damp carpet. At the bottom of the stairs was a small landing with two doors. One was clearly a closet, warped wood, no handle. The other was newer, painted black, numbered B1, as if this was part of a larger building. There were symbols carved into the paint around the frame, circular, sharp, some familiar, some foreign. And something, maybe a nail or claw, had scraped a long X across the middle. But the door was ajar. I pushed it open with the end of the bat. Inside was a studio apartment. Just like in the listing. Couch, small table, bookshelves, old CRT TV. But everything was wrong. The floor was stained with something dark. The couch cushions shredded. Every mirror in the room, 4 of them, was shattered. The pieces still in the frames, reflecting fractured versions of me as I stepped in. And the smell. It was so old. Like the room had been sealed for years. No rot, no death. Just disuse. On the wall across from me was a photo, framed, of me, wearing the same hoodie I was wearing now. Same sneakers. Taken from behind, walking up to this very door. I dropped the bat. That's when I heard the voice again. You came back. Not loud, but inside my head. Or echoing off the glass. I couldn't tell. I turned. The door had shut behind me. And standing by the couch was someone. Pale, thin, hollow-eyed. Familiar. It was Elijah Groves, but his mouth wasn't moving. He wasn't speaking. The voice was coming from the mirrors. All 4 of them, cracked and humming, vibrating lightly on the wall. Elijah just stared at me, eyes sunken and black around the rims like he hadn't slept in years. Then, one word escaped his lips: run. The light in the apartment snapped off. The flashlight in my hand flickered, then died. I moved. I slammed into a chair, kicked something metal, cursed it out loud. The mirrors began to hum louder, like the pitch of a storm. Building. Then came the footsteps. Not from Elijah, from something else. Behind the walls. Slow, dragging, circling footsteps. Like something massive was pacing in the walls themselves, pressed against the drywall. Tracing the room like a predator waiting for its moment. I clawed at the door, twisted the knob, locked. I turned back, pressed myself into the far corner. The humming in the mirrors reached a shriek. One shattered completely, sending shards across the floor. And from the jagged glass on the floor, I saw something climb out, not physically, but its reflection. It was me. Not the me in this room. The other. MD. Standing in the reflection of the couch, grinning, wearing the same hoodie, but soaked in something dark. It raised its hand, pointed at me. Then whispered, next delivery. I blacked out. I don't know how long I was out. When I came to, the basement apartment was empty. The mirrors were whole again. The light was on. The door, open. I stumbled out, up the stairs, into daylight. It was morning. My phone said 7:19 a.m. I had 42 missed calls from Bike Quick support, a dozen texts from other drivers, and one message that stood out. Are you okay? We saw your camera feed. You never came out. They said I was missing for 2 days. My car was found idling on the street. Keys in the ignition. Food in the passenger seat. I had no memory of any of it. None of it. But when I checked the Bike Quick driver dashboard, there were 2 deliveries logged under my name, both to the same address. Both completed. Both timestamped while I was inside the basement. I quit. Deleted the app. Got a new phone, but it didn't matter. Last night, I got a delivery to my apartment. No notification. No knock. Just a bag. Sitting on my welcome mat. Stapled with a note. Not typed. Handwritten. Double quotes. Please leave it by the basement door. Do not knock. E. Grove's only one problem. I don't have a basement. The first time she said my name before I introduced myself, I didn't think much of it. People look at the app. It's whatever. I pulled up to her house, one of those older, brick 2-story places near the end of Hollow Pines Drive. Neat yard. Wreath on the door, even though it wasn't a holiday. Small. American flag in the flower bed. She stepped out before I even parked. Middle aged. Long, brown-gray hair. Thin. Holding exact change in her hand like she'd been waiting. As I got out and reached for the bag, she gave me this soft, polite smile and said, "Thanks. Jordan, that's my name, sure. It's on the profile. But I don't wear a NAMA tag." And I didn't say it. Still, I brushed it off. The app shows driver names. Maybe she just glanced. I was tired. On hour 9 of a delivery shift. Too fried to overthink, but when she handed me the cash, she tilted her head slightly and added, "Hope your sister's feeling better." My body went still, because I hadn't told anyone about that. Not on the app. Not to any customers. Not even on social. My sister Chloe had been in the hospital for the last 3 days with a staph infection. I hadn't posted anything. I hadn't spoken her name aloud in public. I managed to smile and nod, awkward, tight, and walked back to my car fast. By the time I pulled out of her street, my fingers were shaking against the steering wheel. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her face, the way she said my name so calmly, like we were old friends. The way her eyes lingered when she mentioned Chloe. The next day, I checked the app. Customer name, Rochelle P. 5-star rating. 14 completed orders. Nothing weird. But when I tapped into the delivery history, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. She'd ordered 5 times in the last month. All on days I was working. And all had been assigned to me. That doesn't happen. Delivery apps randomize based on driver proximity. You don't get the same person 5 times unless they request you, which you can't do on Bike Quick. Not anymore. I emailed support, just to be sure. Got the usual robotic reply. There is no way for customers to request specific drivers. Delivery assignments are randomized automatically based on location and availability. Cool. Except that night, she ordered again, same address. Same order, a chicken Caesar wrap and 2 iced teas. Always the same. As I pulled up, she was already on the porch again. This time in a cream sweater, barefoot. The porch light flickered once, as if on cue. When I got out of the car, she smiled again and said, "Thanks again, Jordan." Long day? I said nothing at first. I just handed her the bag, but then I asked, "Have we met before?" She tilted her head. That same slow blink. "Yes, but not where you think." I opened my mouth. She handed me a folded envelope. On the front, "For Jordan, please, R.E. Deno postage." No markings. Just my name. In block letters, I don't understand, I said. She just smiled. And this time it felt wrong. It'll make sense after tonight. She turned and shut the door. I sat in my car with the envelope in my hand for a full minute. My instincts were screaming. Eventually I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of white printer paper. Typed. No greeting. No sign off. Jordan, stop looking at your cameras. I already know what they show. The real problem isn't what you see. It's what you've already missed. You should check under your porch. Soon. My heart pounded so hard I nearly choked. I drove straight home. No more deliveries. I live in a one-story rental just outside the city. Nothing special. Beige siding, tiny lawn, creaky floorboards. I pulled into the driveway and ran to the porch. Bent down, used my flashlight. Nothing. Well, at first, but then I saw something tucked behind one of the joists. A Ziploc bag. I reached for it carefully and pulled it free. Inside was a flash drive. No label. No clue how long it had been there. I stared at it for a long time before finally going inside. I plugged the drive into my laptop. It held one file, a video. I opened it. At first, I thought it was nothing. Black screen. Ambient hum. Then, a shape moved. Faint light. Flickering. It was me. Sitting in my bedroom. From behind. Typing at my desk. The footage wasn't from a camera I owned. Not from my webcam. Not from my phone. The angle was impossible. Like the camera was inside the wall behind me. I froze. Then the screen went black again. White text appeared. How many nights have you been watched and never noticed? Another clip began. My sister. Chloe. Lying in her hospital bed. Sleeping. Again. Not a hospital camera. No angle would show this view. It was above her. In the corner of the room. The video zoomed in slowly, then cut to black. I shut the laptop. My whole body was ice. How? How did this woman get these angles? Who the hell was she? I called Chloe immediately. She answered, groggy. She was fine. I didn't tell her. What was I gonna say? Hey, someone's been watching you in the hospital from inside the ceiling. Don't panic. I didn't sleep that night. And the next morning, the flash drive was gone, vanished from the USB port. No trace. Around noon, I got a text from an unknown number. You opened it. Good. We can begin. The text sat on my phone screen like it was breathing. You opened it. Good. We can begin. I didn't reply. I blocked the number. Deleted my delivery apps. Turned off my phone. I even put tape over my laptop webcam and unplugged the Echo Dot in my kitchen, just in case. Every little LED light in the house made me nervous. Every flicker on the screen had me checking my back. And yet, deep down, I knew that none of it mattered. Whatever this woman, Rochelle, had tapped into wasn't just a hacker prank. This was something deeper. More personal. This was about me. That night, around 2:30 a.m., I woke up cold. My bedroom window was open. That had been closed when I went to bed. I was sure of it. Locked. The AC was on. But now the curtains were flapping in the night breeze, and the room was freezing. I stepped out of bed, heart pounding, and closed it slowly. Checked the screen. Still intact. No cracks. Then I saw something on my desk. A second envelope. Identical to the first. No postage. Just my name, block letters. I stared at it for a long time. Eventually, I opened it. Inside, another single sheet of paper. You changed your number. That's fine. We don't need phones. We never did. We just needed you to understand the feeling of being watched. Now that you do, it's time for your final delivery. Come to the address below. Bring nothing. Arrive alone. Tonight, 3:33 m. We'll be waiting. Below that was an address. It was familiar because it was my childhood home. I hadn't been back in over a decade after my dad left in my mom's breakdown. Chloe and I bounced around until I was old enough to take care of us. The house had been condemned, I thought. Boarded up. We'd left and never looked back. But now, someone wanted me to go back. And not just someone, Rochelle, or whatever was behind her. I sat in my car for nearly 30 minutes before turning the key. I didn't know if I was trying to psych myself up or talk myself out of it. Either way, by 3:10 a.m., I was halfway down Hollow Creek Road, and by 3:28, I was parked outside the one-story gray house I hadn't seen since I was 17. The lawn was overgrown. Windows dark. No cars nearby. The porch sagged inward slightly, like time had pushed down on it, but the front door was wide open. I stepped out of the car. Every instinct screamed to leave. But my legs moved anyway. I crossed the dead grass, climbed the porch steps, walked inside, and I swear the house breathed. Everything was the same. Same yellow wallpaper in the hallway. Same cracked tile in the kitchen. Same smell, something between mold and distant memory. But everything was clean, empty, but spotless. No graffiti, no broken glass, no raccoons nesting in the walls like I expected. And sitting in the center of the living room, cross-legged on a neatly folded blanket, was Rochelle. Same sweater, same calm eyes, like she'd been expecting me her entire life. Right on time, she said. I stayed in the doorway. "Why me?" I asked. "What is this?" She smiled, but there was something behind it. Something like sadness, because you noticed. I shook my head. I didn't. I never asked for any of this. She stood slowly, walked toward me, stopped just short of arm's reach. "You've been watched your whole life, Jordan. Like all of us. But most people don't realize it. They go through their days thinking they're in control, thinking they have privacy. You looked up." My skin prickled. "That first day," she said. "When you saw the basement light flicker. When you parked outside my house. You looked at the windows. You wondered who was behind them. You noticed the eyes. That's all it takes." I backed away slightly. "So what is this? A cult? A surveillance program?" She shook her head gently. "It's older than that." She pointed toward the hallway. "One last thing. We saved it for you." I didn't want to look, but I did. Down the hall, past my old bedroom. There was a door that hadn't been there before. Jet black, smooth, no handle. And as I walked toward it, I felt the house hum again, this time louder. From behind the door, I heard my voice, faint, echoing, "Don't leave me here." I stopped, spine rigid, heart in my throat. "Is that a recording?" I asked. My own voice sounded scared, broken. Rochelle stepped beside me. "That's the other you. The version that stayed. The version that never left this house. We all have one." I stared at the door. "What happens if I open it?" "Then you'll remember. And if I don't?" She paused, smiled softly. "Then he'll open it for you." I ran out of the house, down the porch steps, into the car. I didn't look back, but I heard it just before I turned the engine. The door opening, and something screaming in a voice too much like mine. I haven't gone back since. I left that house, left that town. Chloe and I moved out of state. I changed my name. Got rid of all smart tech. No apps. No digital trails. But even now, I still see her sometimes. Rochelle. Crossing the street when I'm driving. Walking past the window of whatever cafe I'm working at. Always smiling. Always watching. And sometimes, when I'm drifting off at night, I hear something move just outside my door. A knock. Followed by a whisper. "We're still watching." The moment the gate slid shut behind me, I knew something was off. Not just rich people weird. Wrong. Too quiet. Too clean. Too still. I just made a late-night delivery to one of those massive luxury communities on the edge of town. The kind that looks like it was built for retired CEOs and politicians with secrets. The kind of place where everything is landscaped, security is private, and the air smells like lemongrass and rules. The order came through at 10:36 p.m., $19 payout. Not bad. Customer, D. Wexler instructions. Use visitor entrance. Tell security it's for 112 Sycamore. They'll let you in. Fine, nothing unusual. I pulled up, rolled down my window at the gatehouse. The guard looked. Wrong. Something about his face. Pale under the fluorescent light. Sunken eyes. Uniform pressed so crisp it looked painted on. Name tag, Harlan. No last name. He didn't smile. Didn't speak, just stared at me for a few seconds. Then hit a button and the gate slid open without a word. Thanks, I muttered. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Just kept watching. The neighborhood was immaculate. No music. No porch lights. No people. Just sprinklers silently spraying identical lawns. I followed the app GPS to the drop-off address. 112 Sycamore Lane. Big 2-story house. White stucco. Black shutters. Looked like a model home, too perfect to feel lived in. I got out, walked up the front path. Porch light clicked on automatically. Motion sensor. I figured. There was no doorbell. Weird that I knocked twice. The door opened instantly. A woman stood there. Mid-40s, red lipstick, pale, wearing a silk robe that looked expensive and wrong for the weather. She didn't say anything. Just looked at me. I held out the bag. Hi, bite quick delivery. For Wexler? She took the bag without a word. Right before closing the door, she said very quietly, "You should leave, now." Then she shut it. No thanks. No tip. No nothing. Fine. Whatever. I got back in the car, tapped, delivered, and backed out of the driveway. Rolled slowly toward the exit gate. And that's when I noticed something strange. My GPS was wrong. It showed me inside the neighborhood still, even though I was almost back to the gate. And when I pulled up to leave, the gate was closed. I pulled up to the little speaker. At the visitor side, pressed the call button. No response. Pressed it. Again. Nothing. I looked inside the GATEOCHO USE. Empty. The chair Harlan had been sitting in. Spinning slowly, I waited. Tried the call button again. Still nothing. So I pulled my car over to the side, left it running, and walked up to the side door of the gatehouse. Knocked on the glass. No answer. I cupped my hands to the window and peered in. The lights were still on. The security monitors still flickering, but Harlan was gone, just vanished. The weirdest part? There was no door leading out of the gatehouse. Just the one facing the street. No back exit. No bathroom door. No nothing. I tried the knob. It turned. Inside. The air smelled like printer toner and artificial air freshener. Empty coffee cup on the desk. One of those rotating tower fans blowing cold air toward the security monitors. I stepped inside. There were 6 monitors, all showing different parts of the neighborhood. Cul-de-sacs, walking trails, community pool. Street corners. No people. Not a single soul on screen, except one monitor. The one showing the entrance I'd just come through still showed me. Standing outside the gatehouse, except I wasn't anymore. I was inside, but on the screen, I was still outside, still knocking. Still waiting, still real time. I stepped back so fast I almost knocked over the fan. What the hell was happening? I reached for the little walkie-talkie on the desk, the kind that security guards carry. Dead. No static. No click. Just dead. I looked at the wall where the shift schedule was pinned. Every single date said the same. Name, Harlan Solo. Harlan Solo. Harlan Solo. Every day for the last 3 weeks. One person. Never anyone else. Turned to leave. The door I'd walked through was now locked. The moment I realized the door wouldn't open, something inside me cracked. I rattled the knob harder. Nothing, no give. Like the air on the other side had turned solid, I pressed my forehead to the glass, trying to steady my breathing. My reflection looked back at me, pale, shaking, eyes wide. Behind me, the monitors flickered. One went black. Then another. Then another. Finally, only a single screen was left on. The camera pointed inside the GATEHOUSE at me, accept. The me on the monitor wasn't doing what I was doing. I was standing with my hands against the glass. The me on the screen had his back turned to the camera and was walking deeper into the room, walking toward a place I wasn't standing. My mouth went dry. That's not me, I whispered, but it looked exactly like me. Same jacket, same posture, same nervous habit of rubbing my thumb against my palm. And then the version on screen turned, slightly, just enough for me to see its face. It smiled. A slow, stretched, too knowing smile. I spun in a circle, scanning the room. No one else there. Just the fan humming, the empty chair, the scent of lemon cleaner and fake peppermint. Then the lights overhead flickered. Once, twice, off, total darkness. I swallowed the panic building up in my throat and slapped my hand along the wall until I found the switch. I flipped it. Nothing. The only light in the room came from the monitor showing the other me, now standing perfectly still in the center of the gatehouse, hands folded, staring straight at the camera. My heart pounded. Stop, I whispered, even though I knew it couldn't hear me. Or could it? Because the me on the monitor raised a finger to its lips. My whole body went cold. Then the speaker system crackled loudly, making me jump. Static. Then a voice, but not a voice from the speaker. A voice behind me. Back so soon? I turned slowly, and sitting in the chair, the same chair that had been empty minutes earlier, was Harlan. Same uniform, same pale face, same stillness. His eyes didn't blink. His fingers didn't twitch on the armrests. His chest didn't rise. He wasn't breathing. Are you okay? I asked, voice cracking. He didn't respond. He just stared. But the speaker above the monitors crackled again. And the same voice, his voice, came through it. You weren't supposed to come in. I backed up until I hit the wall. I just want to go home, I said. Open the gate, please. His lips remained still, but the voice spoke again through the speaker. No one opens it. It opens you. That chilled me more than anything else so far. It's time, the voice said. For what? I whispered. Harlan's head twitched, just a tiny, unnatural jerk to the side. Then his eyes shifted, not smoothly, like someone behind them was dragging them into place, and in that stiff, impossible motion, his eyes aligned with mine. You met Ms. Wexler, he said, though his mouth never moved. She told you to leave. He leaned forward. She was trying to help. You, another static burst. You should have listened. Something banged against the outside door. Not a gentle knock, a slam. Then another. Something or someone wanted in. I turned, heart pounding, watching the metal door flex slightly with each hit. The top hinge squealed under the pressure. Then the monitor showing the gates flicked back on. And my stomach dropped. There was someone standing just outside the gatehouse door. Me. The same. Copy, reflection, whatever I'd seen on camera before. Except now it was outside. It raised a hand and pressed it to the glass. The lights exploded back on with a loud snap. Harlan disappeared. Just gone. No fade, no movement. 1 second he was there, next second, empty chair. The me outside stared straight into the camera and smiled wider. Teeth showing. It tapped lightly on the door window. Tap, tap, tap. I clenched my fists. My breath came short, fast, sharp. Go away, I whispered. It. DIDN single quotes D instead. It mouthed something. "Let me in." The speaker crackled again. And Harlan's voice returned. "You can't leave until you're replaced." "What?" I hissed. "Replaced by who?" Harlan's voice didn't answer. The lights blinked once, and the outside version of me vanished from the monitor. I froze. Something scraped behind me. Slow drag along the floor. I turned. He was inside, standing at the opposite end of the gatehouse, head tilted, watching me with an expression that wasn't mine. Too wide, too calm, too wrong. He stepped forward. I stepped back. He stepped again. The lights dimmed. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. "Why are you doing this?" I whispered. My double blinked slowly, and for the first time, he spoke, in my voice, perfectly. "You came in. Now you stay." I darted for the door. It opened. Just like that, unlocked. Loose, easy to pull. I stumbled outside, ran for my car. Keys already in my hand, but the neighborhood wasn't empty anymore. People stood on their porches. Men, women, children. Just standing. Silhouettes in the pale blue streetlights. All facing me. All watching. Every light in every house blinked on. One by one, like someone was running their finger along a switchboard made of lives. I backed away slowly, breath fogging the air. Then a child stepped forward. Little girl, maybe 8. Pink pajamas. She raised a hand and pointed at me. "You don't belong here," she said softly. "Not yet." I sprinted to my car, fumbled the keys, dropped them, swore, grabbed them again. Slammed into the driver's seat. The gate was open now, wide open, the way out clear. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe until I hit the highway. I quit the app the next morning. Filed a complaint. Tried to report the address, the guard, the community. No record of it anywhere. Not on maps. Not on the app. Not in county property records. When I drove back, desperate to prove I hadn't lost my mind, there was nothing. Not a gate. Not a guard shack. Not a single house. Just an unpaved field and a sign. "Coming soon, Sycamore Reserve Luxury Community, opening in 2026. I stared at it for nearly 10 minutes. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. A voicemail came through anyway. Harlan's monotone voice whispering, "Visitor entrance open. Returning resident detected. Welcome back, Jordan." Followed by a second whisper layered under the first. "It's your turn to sit in the chair." The guy behind the counter at New Walk Express barely looked at me when I walked in. Didn't say hi. Didn't ask my name. He just shoved a brown paper bag across the counter without a word. Double-checked the receipt on the stapled top. Bite quick. Order number 77,291. 3 spring rolls, Kung Pao chicken sweet and sour shrimp. Customer, Malik Esdrapov, Pinneview Towers. Apt 1409, that was my next delivery. Everything matched. Still, something felt off. The bag was heavier than it should have been. Dense and cold on the bottom, like something frozen was inside. But I was already behind schedule, and the guy behind the counter had disappeared into the back kitchen. Shrugged it off and headed out. It was 9:48 p.m. Cold, drizzly. One of those nights where the city feels a little too quiet. Pinneview Towers was a high-rise I hated delivering to. A sketchy mix of college kids, families, and people clearly hiding from someone. The elevator reeked of old weed and cleaning fluid, and it took 2 tries to get the call button to respond. I made it to the 14th floor and walked down the hallway to 1409. Knocked. Nothing. Waited 10 seconds. Knocked. Again. Still nothing. Just as I was about to leave the bag at the door and bounce, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated. I never answer unknown numbers during deliveries, but something in me told me to pick up. "Hey," a voice said, low and urgent. "This is Malik. The food's not for me. You picked up the wrong order. Don't drop it off." "What?" I said. It's got your name on it. That's not what I mean. Just don't deliver it. Don't leave it anywhere. Can you meet me in person? I blinked. You want me to drive back and give it to you? No, someone else is coming for it. You need to get somewhere safe. Look, I know how this sounds, just trust me. You're not safe right now. I started to respond, but the line went dead. No call back. No new message. Just silence. I stood in the hallway, bag in hand, heart suddenly thudding in my chest. I turned to head back toward the elevator and nearly ran straight into a man standing there. I hadn't heard him approach. Hadn't seen him in the hall. Just suddenly there. He was tall, wearing a hoodie with the hood up, both hands in his jacket pockets. He stared at the bag in my hand. You got something for $14.09? He asked, calm, flat, no emotion. I stepped back. Yeah, but the customer just called. He said it was the wrong order. The man smiled, not friendly. You should give it to me. I took another step back. You can call the app and reorder if it's wrong. I gotta go. He stepped forward, and that's when I realized he wasn't alone. Another guy had just turned the corner behind him. Shorter, stockier, same kind of blank expression. Same type of hoodie. I didn't wait. I turned and ran back toward the elevator. Slammed the button. No response. Figures. I darted into the stairwell and started sprinting down. I didn't stop until I hit the third floor. I ducked into the hallway and leaned against the wall. Catching my breath. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number text this time. They'll follow the bag. Don't let them have it. Meet me at 11:15, corner of 8th and Harlow. Black Dodge Charger. Bring the order. I stared at the message. Then at the bag in my hand. I didn't want to know what was inside, but I couldn't help myself. I tore the staple, opened the top, peeled back the takeout containers, and under the Kung Pao chicken and rice boxes was a small, shrink-wrapped brick of something white, wrapped in duct tape. No label. No smell. I knew what it was before I touched it. I shoved the taped brick back into the paper bag and pressed my palm against my forehead. I had maybe 10 seconds before those two guys realized I wasn't coming back up the stairwell. My phone buzzed again. This time, a new message. Don't go to your car. They're already there. I swallowed hard. How the hell? I muttered. But I didn't have time to think. Another buzz. Stairs to the garage. Level B2. Take the service door. I didn't know whether to trust Malik or not. I didn't know who the two guys were. I didn't know what the hell I had gotten dragged into. But I did know that if I stayed where I was, I'd end up cornered with a bag full of drugs I didn't ask to carry. So I ran. The stairwell to the garage felt colder than the rest of the building. The lights were spaced far apart, buzzing weakly, casting long shadows along the concrete. My sneakers echoed against the steps. Down one flight, 2, then 3. I pushed open the door to level B2 and stepped into the underground garage, a dim maze of concrete pillars and parked cars, almost all of them covered in dusted. Quiet, except for the soft hum of a running engine somewhere behind me. I ducked behind a silver Honda, peeked around. 2 men stood at the far end of the garage. Not the guys from the hallway. These 2 were older, clean-cut. One wore a blazer. The other had a shaved head and a tattoo peeking up his neck. They were scanning the garage, like they were hunting something or someone. I backed away slowly, heart hammering, and crawled behind a row of SUVs. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. Nearly screamed. I grabbed it and checked the message. I see you. Keep moving. I looked around frantically. Who the hell was I? I crept between the parked vehicles as quietly as I could. The exit ramp was on the opposite side of the garage. If I could just get a voice echoed across the concrete. Bag first. Boy second. It was the man in the blazer. I froze. They knew exactly why they were here, and that meant whoever Malik was. He wasn't lying. I made it to the service door, a rusted metal thing tucked between two concrete columns, and shoved it open with my shoulder. Stairs again, these ones narrow. Claustrophobic, the paint peeling off the railings. I ran until I hit the ground level, burst into a back alley, and stumbled into the cold night air. It was 10:57 p.m. I had 18 minutes until the meetup time. 8th. And Harlow was a 10-minute drive normally. But I didn't have my car. So I ran. The city felt different that night. Quieter, emptier, colder. Every car that passed made me jump. Every alleyway made me flinch. I could swear I heard footsteps behind me more than once. But every time I turned, there was no one there. By 11:13 p.m. I reached the corner of 8th and Harlow. A black Dodge Charger sat under the flickering street lamp. Tinted windows. Engine off. Nobody else around. I approached slowly, breathing hard. The rear passenger window rolled down about an inch. A voice, the same voice from the phone call earlier, said, "Get in." I hesitated. "I want to see your face first." A quiet chuckle. "After you get in." I clenched my jaw, against every instinct I had. I opened the back door and slid inside. The man in the passenger seat turned around, early 30s, mixed race, sharp jawline. Dark circles under his eyes. Malik. He looked exhausted. Not dangerous, just worn down. He eyed the bag in my hands. "You kept it," he said quietly. I almost died keeping it. He nodded. "Yeah, I'm sorry about that, truly." I didn't say anything. The driver, a woman in a beanie chewing gum, glanced at me through the rear view. "You bring heat?" she asked. I shook my head. "Just confused." She snorted. "Confused is good. Means you're still alive." I turned back to Malik. "What's in the bag?" His jaw tightened. "Evidence of what?" "Of who really runs Pinneview Towers," he said. "And what they do in that basement you passed earlier." A chill crawled up my spine. "You think I care about some drug ring?" I said, "I deliver food. I didn't sign up for this." "That," he said, "is exactly why you're the only one they won't suspect." Before I could respond, he reached back and lifted the taped brick from the bag. He peeled off a corner of the duct tape and held it up to the passing. STRETLIGHT. Inside wasn't powder. It was paper, tightly folded, dozens of sheets, covered in names. Dates. Payments. Drop off. Instructions. Addresses. Lists and lists of transactions. Laundering, he said. Human trafficking. Debt books. They hide everything inside food orders. Rotate couriers every few weeks so no one gets wise. I felt sick. "How do you know all this?" He looked at me. Dead serious. "Because I used to work for them." I leaned back as the car rolled through the intersection. "So why me?" I asked. "Why set me up with this?" "You weren't supposed to get the order," he said. "They were." I switched the tag. "Barely, just to get it into the wild." "To expose them?" "To run," he said. "And to force their hand. What does that even mean?" He stared at the bag. "It means when they figure out you're the one who has it, they only have two choices, which are, let you live." He paused. "Or replace you." The woman driving muttered, "We shouldn't be talking about this in the car." Malik cut her off. "We're already being followed." My stomach dropped. "What?" He pointed out the back window. I turned. Headlights. Two cars behind us. Then a third. The same kind of SUVs from the garage. The driver's knuckles tightened on the wheel. Malik leaned forward. "If they catch us, they'll take you." "Not me." "They don't want me back." "What do they want me for?" I asked. "They want the bag. And they want to make sure you never talk." The SUVs sped up. One swerved into the next lane. Malik's voice went hard. Hold on. The driver slammed the gas. The Charger lurched forward. My shoulder hit the seat. The SUVs accelerated. One clipped the corner behind us. Metal screeched. We spun hard around a curve, flying past dark shops and empty sidewalks. My pulse hammered. My vision tunneled. What now? I shouted. Now? Malik said, pulling something from under his seat. A second bag, identical to mine. He tossed it into my lap. You choose. I blinked. One of these bags is the evidence, he said. One is empty. Only I know which is which. The SUVs gained. You throw one out the window, he said, and we see who they follow. My hands shook. I can't choose. He snapped. Otherwise they'll take both. And you. The woman shouted, left turn. The car jerked. Headlights filled the rear window. Malik's voice rose. Throw IT. Both bags in my lap. Identical. I grabbed one, opened the window, and threw it into the road. It hit the pavement and burst. Open. Papers spilled everywhere. The SUVs all swerved toward the bag I threw. Not the one left in my hands. Malik laughed, not triumphantly. More like he couldn't believe I'd chosen correctly. The Charger sped forward, outpacing the SUVs as they skidded to a stop. Men jumping out to grab the files. We didn't slow down for a long time. By the time the driver let me out, behind an abandoned shopping center miles from town, my legs were shaking so badly I could barely stand. Malik tossed me the empty bag. Keep it, he said, as proof you were never involved. What about you? But he didn't answer. They drove off. No plates. No lights. Gone. That was 3 weeks ago. I quit Bike Quick. I avoid Pinneview Towers. Hell, I avoid that whole part of town. But sometimes at night, I see a black SUV rolling slowly down my street. Never stopping. Never speeding. Just watching. And sometimes, when I get a food order notification, even though I deleted every app, it says, wrong order. We know what you chose. And last night, a paper bag was sitting on my doorstep. No receipt. No writing. Just one thing inside. A new brick of folded documents, wrapped in duct tape. The first thing I noticed was how quiet the street was. Not quiet like peaceful. Quiet like something was missing. No dogs barking. No wind. No rustling trees. No TVs through open windows. Just nothing. I pulled up to the house with the delivery bag in my lap and my hands kind of twitchy on the steering wheel. Rural neighborhood, somewhere off Highway 19. A little too far from the city to get regular service. But Bike Quick's been expanding lately. I guess someone finally flipped the switch and opened this zone. I should have ignored the ping. It was almost 11 p.m. and the payout was weirdly high, $34 for a 12-minute drive. But I took it anyway. The house sat back from the road. 2 stories, wide porch, dark windows, except for one dim light upstairs. The lawn was overgrown. No car in the driveway. No mailbox. The app showed hand it to customer. Name, Eloise N. No extra notes. No special instructions. But something about it felt wrong. As I stepped out of the car and started up the path, I felt it. That pressure. Like someone was watching me. I rang the doorbell. It didn't chime. I knocked gently. No answer. I knocked again, louder. After maybe 10 seconds, the door creaked open. Not fully, just a few inches. A woman stood there. Mid-30s maybe. Thin, pale skin, like she hadn't seen the sun in weeks. Long black hair parted straight down the middle, and totally, completely silent. She didn't speak, didn't smile. Just looked at me. I held up the bag. Hi, food delivery for Eloise? She didn't respond. Just stepped back and opened the door wider. An unspoken invitation. I didn't want to walk in. Every instinct screamed not to. But something about the way she stared, not at me, but through me, made my legs move anyway. I stepped into the house. It was colder inside than it should have been. No lights on, except for a small lamp in the corner of the living room. Furniture draped in sheets. Plastic covering the floor. Like someone was in the middle of moving, or hadn't moved in all the way. Or maybe had moved out, and no one told the house. She shut the door behind me. Then pointed toward a wooden table in the dining room. I placed the bag there, trying to act normal. "Here you go," I said, my voice too loud in the silence. "Hope you enjoy it." Still nothing, not a blink. Not a smile. Not even a nod. Just that blank stare. And then a scream. From upstairs. A single, ragged, blood-curdling scream that echoed through the entire house. I jumped back, nearly knocking over a chair. The woman didn't flinch. I turned to her, my voice shaking. "Was that?" She raised a finger, pressed it to her lips. And then walked toward the stairs. Slow, controlled, like nothing had happened. I ran, didn't think, didn't wait. Just bolted out the front door, slammed it behind me, sprinted to the car, and sped down the road without looking back. I didn't stop until I was 2 miles out. Pulled into a gas station, hands shaking, heart pounding. I checked the app. The order had marked as delivered, but the name had changed. Not Eloise M. Now it said, unknown, customer manual address entry, and the profile photo? A completely black screen. I called support. Got some AI assistant at first. Then finally a human. I told them the house creeped me out. I heard screaming. "I think someone's hurt." They told me the address wasn't in the system. No one placed an order from that street. The agent said, "Are you sure you didn't get lost?" I stared at my phone. "I was inside the house," I whispered. "I spoke to someone. I heard someone upstairs." The agent didn't say anything for a second. Then, "I'll escalate the issue. Thanks for your concern." Then they ended the call. I should have left it alone, but I couldn't stop thinking about the scream. It wasn't distant. It wasn't a cat or a TV. It was a person, in pain. And the woman, she hadn't reacted at all. 2 nights later, I drove back. Not for a delivery, not for money. I just needed to know if the house was still there. It was same dark windows, same light on upstairs. Except this time, there was something new. A second figure. Standing in the upstairs window, watching. I sat in my car across the street, engine off, the house half hidden behind tall trees and overgrown shrubs. But the upstairs window was clear. And the figure stood there. Still, motionless, watching. Not the woman. This silhouette was taller, broader, shoulders wider. Someone else. A man. I swallowed hard, suddenly wishing I hadn't come alone. I reached for my phone. No service. I checked again. Still nothing. Like the entire block was cut off. The upstairs light flickered once, then went out. The window went black. I wasn't breathing. I only noticed because my chest suddenly spasmed, forcing a breath back in. I told myself to leave. I really did, but instead I opened my door and stepped out, because something was wrong inside that house. Something screaming. Something silent. Something watching. And no one believed me except May. The air felt colder the closer I got. Not night chill. A stillness cold, dead cold. I crept up the walkway, every footstep crunching on leaves that were somehow soaked despite the sky being clear. Reached the porch. That's when I realized the front door was open. Just slightly. Just like last time, except I didn't knock. I didn't approach. I was still 2 steps away, and it creaked open all on its own. Slow. Like the house was exhaling. Raised my flashlight and stepped inside. The air felt heavier. My ears popped like the pressure had changed. The house looked the same as 2 nights before. Sheets over furniture, plastic on the carpet, lamp glowing dimly. But something was missing. The woman and the food bag I'd dropped off. It was gone. Not a trace of it. I moved slowly toward the stairs. The entire staircase was pitch black. The light from downstairs didn't seem to touch it, like it was absorbing every beam. Halfway up, I heard it, a soft creaking above me. Footsteps. Slow, pacing, then stopping. I froze. My flashlight beam trembled along the banister, and then a single, sharp scream ripped through the air. High-pitched, human, agonizing, not like the first one. This was close. Directly above me. I bolted up the rest of the stairs, breath ragged, heart punching against my ribs. There was a hallway with 4 doors. The last one on the left had light leaking out from underneath. I pushed toward it. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely turn the knob. I braced myself, swallowed, turned it. And stepped inside. The room was empty, completely empty. No bed, no dresser, no belongings, just bare floorboards and peeling wallpaper. The window, the one I saw someone standing in, was open, curtains blowing inward. I walked carefully across the room, leaning out to look down. Nothing. Just the overgrown yard and my empty car. But behind me, something scraped. I turned around quickly, shining the flashlight. In the corner of the room, carved into the floorboards, were words, "Don't listen to the screams." My stomach dropped. I knelt to see it closer. The wood was gouged deep, fresh, splinters still loose around the letters. Someone had carved it recently. Suddenly the window behind me slammed shut. I jumped and spun around. The curtains were still completely still. No wind. No movement. Just silence. And then I heard footsteps again. Not from inside the room, not from the hallway, from under the floor. Slow, dragging steps, walking beneath me. Like someone pacing in a crawl space or sub-level. But the house didn't have a basement door except the front one. No cellar, no basement stairs. So where the hell? A whisper rose from the floorboards. Barely audible. Leave. It wasn't a threat. It sounded like a plea. Leave, the voice whispered again, louder this time. Leave now. I stumbled back. That's when the screaming started again. But this time, it wasn't upstairs. It came from everywhere. Inside the walls, inside the floor, inside the pipes, inside my head. Different voices, different ages, men, women, children, all screaming, all at once. The lights exploded overhead, bulbs bursting, raining glass. I bolted out of the room and down the hallway straight into the woman. She stood at the top of the stairs. Same pale skin, same long black hair, but her eyes. God, her eyes were wrong this time. Completely black. No whites, no pupils. Just void. She opened her mouth, slowly, painfully, like her jaw was stiff. But no scream came out. Just silence. Her jaw hung wider and wider. Her mouth too large now, too stretched. The screams in the house grew louder, louder, louder. The floor under my feet vibrated. I backed away, shaking my head. No, no, no. She tilted her head and raised her hand. Not to reach for me, but to point down the stairs. At something behind me. I didn't look. I ran. I sprinted. Past her so close her hair brushed my arm. Down the stairs. Into the living room. Toward the front door. It slammed shut on its own. Hard. I grabbed the handle, pulled, shoved, kicked. It wouldn't budge. The scream surged again. Stopped. All at once. The silence was immediate and suffocating. And in that silence, right behind me, a voice whispered, "Turn around." I didn't want to, but I did. The woman stood inches from me now, face blank, eyes black, mouth closed again, and behind her down the dark hallway. Shapes shifted, dozens of them. Tall and thin, shaking, shuddering, like shadows, trying to peel themselves off the walls. The woman leaned in close, too close. until her forehead nearly touched mine. Then, in the faintest voice, "You shouldn't have come back." The door behind me unlocked, clicked, swung open by itself. Cold night air rushed in. I ran. I didn't stop until I reached the gas station on Highway 19. I sat in the driver's seat, shaking so badly I could barely hold the wheel. When I finally looked at the house through the mirror, it was completely dark. No upstairs light, no figures in the window, no movement. Just an empty house, like nothing had ever happened. I tried to report it, but BiteQuick said there was no such customer. The police said the property had been abandoned for 6 years, condemned after a fire in the basement, a fire that killed a woman named Eloise, a fire caused by a neighbor hearing screaming. But investigators never found her body, and the house's power disconnected. Not a single functioning bulb inside. No electricity at all. I've avoided that part of town ever since. But last night, right as I closed my eyes, I heard it again. That same scream, right behind my bedroom wall, followed by a whisper, pressed against the dark, "Leave it on the table. I'll get it." I don't take delivery orders anymore, but I think the house found me anyway.